Yes, Rahul, we are starting. Wait a minute. Actually, we have to. Yeah, we can start now.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Prac Edge, the podcast that explores the latest trends and insight in technology, business, and innovation. At Prac Edge, we are passionate about the helping our listeners stay ahead of the curve by providing them with the valuable insights and actionable advice from the industry experts. I'm your host, Rahul, and it is my pleasure to welcome our special guest today, Yash Bothra. Yash is a highly accomplished software engineer currently working at the Kointrack. He has achieved several noticeable accomplishments in his career, including cracking the prestigious Google Summer Code and securing a highly internship position. In addition to his work as a software engineer, Yash is also a passionate educator who has taught millions of students through his work with Apna. His dedication to helping others learn and grow is a truly inspiring, and we are honored to have him here with us today to share his insight and expertise. So please give me a warm welcome to Yash Bothra. And Yash is going to talk about the today's topic, GSOC. Over to you, Yash.
Hi Rahul, how are you?
I'm doing amazing, Yash. How you doing?
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction.
Thank you, Yash. So, Yash, can you talk about like like today's theme? What exactly is the G-Shock Google Summer of Code? Like for someone who has no idea, so um,
Yeah,
can
sure,
we talk about like a bit more? Yes.
sure. So let's talk about Google Summer of Code first. If anybody doesn't know what Google Summer of Code is, then it is an open source program which Google organizes for students and the community to contribute and understand and learn more about open source contributions and open source softwares basically. So what Google provides is it provides 3 months term period, and in that 3 month term period, anybody who is a student or who has not is doing any job or is not connected with any company can contribute in Google Summer of Code, take part in that. And basically what they have to do is they have to pick a project, and in that 3 month of time they have to contribute in that. Okay, so now the procedure is fairly simple, but people get stuck few times. Okay, so let's discuss some more about how to contribute to Google Summer of Code, how we can look what organizations are there. So yeah, can I share my screen?
Yes, yes, you can.
Okay, sure.
But
So
yeah, I would like to interrupt for a while. Actually, both of your videos are not on. Like Yash Bhaiya and you and Rahul also. Please open the camera so that
yeah, just a
people can.
second. Sorry. Yeah. Uh, so as I was talking about Google Summer of Code, so let's go to GSOC's website and understand that how we can find a project and contribute in that. Okay, so first of all, you have to go to get started and check the organizations list. Okay, so basically now as you can see the organization registration. Hello.
Yes, yes. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. So as you can see, organizations registration is closed. That means that all the organization which should be listed in GSOC 2023 are listed. So now what we will do is we will check what all organizations are listed. Okay, and then what you can do is as a student you have to choose one of the organization, and GSOCs give a flexibility to basically choose any three organizations to take part in. So you can send proposals to any three of the organizations. Okay. So now let's see where is the organizations page, and let's try to see what all organizations are listed. Okay. So give me a second. Let's Google it. Okay. So here are the list of all the organization. I think there is some issue with the website, but it should be on this page only. The list is not showing right now, but you can see it later also. Okay, so there will be a list of organizations which are listed in Google Summer of Code, and you have to pick any one of the organization. Now, anyone who is not introduced to Google Summer of Code, how he or she will know that how we can start the contribution and we can get introduced to. So basically, let's take consider of my organization which I have contributed in. So I contributed to an open source organization named as OpenEMR. If you search OpenEMR, you will get that repository there. Okay, so this is an open source organization where I contributed to, and in GSOC my term period, I contributed to this organization in a project called FHIR. So as you can see, here are the pull requests which people have done. What are pull requests? So basically, what all people have fixed or want to contribute inside the organization, they will open a PR. PR is basically pull request, and that pull request will consist of all the code which you are having there. Okay, so as you can see, there are a lot of PRs. Now, as a beginner student, what you have to do is you have to go into the issues section. What I'm highlighting here is issues section. So what you will find in issues section, you will find a lot of bugs and things which are need to be improved. Okay, so here are, you can see there are a lot of issues, and in these issues you will be getting confused that which issue will be beginner friendly. So a lot of organization uses this good first issue tag, which you can click here and see these are the issues which are beginner friendly. Okay, that's the name says good first issue. So now if you can see, there are list of issues which are beginner friendly, so any beginner can pick at them and start contributing. Now I'm taking example of OpenEMR. This OpenEMR uses PHP and JavaScript, which is a pretty old stack. Okay, so now if you want to contribute to related to React, so in this website, which currently is not opening, but if you see there, you will end up seeing that there is a search button which you can use for searching any text stack. So suppose you search for React, and you know React, so there will be a list of projects which you can contribute based on React. So like that the flow is. So now today is 3rd April, and as you can see on this is the May 23 and March 20. As you can see, March 20 is the last date for application. Sorry, starting date for application, and April 4 is last date. So tomorrow is the deadline. So anybody who is contributing and applying for Google Summer of Code must be submit their application before April 4. So before April 4, you should have some type of contributions which you have done in open source or inside that organization which you are proposing to, something like that. And after the application you send, it will be reviewed by some mentors, and those mentors are the organization like maintainers who maintain the code base of the organizations and take care of the operations. So after that, April 27, as you can see, is the date where all the rankings and things will be done, and on the basis of ranking, your proposal gets selected and the projects gets announced. Okay, so once the projects get announced, then the thing is you have to there will be one community bonding period. So in that community bonding period, like you have to connect to maintainer and learn what the code base is and what your project is about, and start contributing in project if possible. Otherwise, it's not mandatory. So from 29th May, as you can see, coding officially begins. So after 29th May, the coding will be begin, and till the project end, which is the, as you can see, August 28, the final evaluations will be done. So basically, what Google Summer of Code is, so they do payments in evaluations. So as you can see, this is the first evaluation and this is this final evaluation. So in the first evaluation, they will do the partly payment, and in the final evaluation, they will do the final payment depending upon what are your contributions. If you end up being like if you cannot contribute more and if your project is not valid, then they might end in between also. So yeah, that is it all about open source and Google Summer of Code.
Yes, thank you very much for telling us so much about the Google Summer of Code.
Yeah.
As I think of like the contribution doing to the open source, the one picture comes in mind like someone who has never done any contribution to open source, someone who is not familiar with it. So
Yeah.
how can someone start doing the contribution, and what are the things they should keep in mind when firstly they're doing the contribution?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and many people get stuck while doing their first contribution because the first contribution is very important. You don't know where to start. Okay, so first of all, you must be having some type of skills, right? So if you know web development, you know front-end web development, you must know like some framework, really famous frameworks like Vue.js, Angular, or React. So if you are knowing these skills, then only you can start contributing. Okay, so and to contribute, you must know version control systems like Git. So if you don't know Git, then it's very hard to contribute because each organization will use some or other kind of version control system, and you have to know what it is. Okay, so learn a bit about Git and some framework or whatever you are interested in. Like if you are interested in front end, you can go for web development and pick any frame. Okay, after this, if you are skilled enough and if you know like you can start with some kind of project and some type of contribution. If you are confident enough, then learn Git and come up to this page which I showed. It's not working right now. Let's see. Actually, it shows all the organization list. It's not showing right now, but here you will see the page. That page basically shows all the organization list, and as I said, that you will see all the organizations which are using particular stack. So the stack is also mentioned in that particular page, that if organization is using Go with C++ with some other language or framework, that will be written. So you will be knowing that if that particular stack is getting used there must be some chances that you can contribute. Okay, so let's take an example, and let's take an example of React only. If you are a beginner and you want to contribute to React, so there is very famous open source organization named Zulip. You must have heard. It's basically a open source software for like Slack for organizations to chat. Okay, so if you type Zulip, you will see this. This is the Zulip repository of their organization. So in this repository, there will be multiple code bases. If you can see, there are different languages, and there must be some main project. So Zulip is the main web application which you can contribute in. And as you can see, it is written in Python and JavaScript. So if you know JavaScript or Python, you can start here and start contributing. There must be some issues or some type of PRs which you can start contributing. And if you don't know anything and you just want to contribute to the organization and you just want to show that you can do something, then raise a PR, and then only you can get to know that you are contributing. Okay, so let's go to issues, and here what we can do is we can search good first issue. So basically most of the organizations use this tag, and it will show all the good first issues which are beginner friendly. So if we click here, you can see there are a lot of issues which are going on. So a beginner can pick any issue, and first of all, they have to set up the project. So setting up a project is very hard. So many people stuck in that also. So if you get stuck in the particular setup, first of all, you can chat with anyone in the PR also, that if some new contributor or some contributor is contributing, you can talk with them and tell them that how did you set up your development environment, and then follow that same procedure and move on. Otherwise, what you can do is you can chat directly with the community of Zulip. So as I'm taking example of Zulip, you will find on the Zulip website what their community is. So if we go in Zulip, and if you see, there must be some type of contributing guide, and in that contributing guide they will tell about all the communities that are in the Zulip. So if they will having any Slack or anything which they are using, they will have in this documentation, and you can go there and directly chat with maintainers and ask them that I'm facing that, and that any type of difficulty, and they will help you sort out things whichever you need in development. Okay, so after that, once you have set up all the development environment and you are ready to go, just try to go into issue section, pick an issue, try to reproduce it. What does it mean by reproducing? You have to check that the particular issue which is occurring in their system is occurring in our system also or not. If it is occurring, then you can fix it. So that is the minimum basics that you can do for a simple contribution for starting up. And after starting up, then you can check what all projects they are having, and what all new enhancement also, if you want to do, you want to do any project, then you can go to Google Summer of Code. In that website you will see the list of projects which they are gonna do in Google Summer of Code. So basically you have to pick some project and then contribute in that. So what if you do that same project before the contribution period starts? So what you can do is, the project whichever project you are picking up in Google Summer of Code, you can start contributing it before even the coding period begins. So what that makes is you that the mentors of the organizations will feel that the other person is contributing enough and they are worthy to get a chance of Google Summer of Code. So if you are communicating with a mentor, and if you are having a good impression with them, then you will definitely get a chance to do Google Summer of Code. Yeah.
And since we're talking about like getting in touch with the community and getting in touch with your mentors, how can you communicate effectively with like other members when you're doing the open source community, when you're working like remotely, so you don't know many people?
Sure. So basically I will tell about my story, what I did in my Google Summer of Code period. So basically once you get into the Google Summer of Code, then things will be very easy, because now you know the organization people, they have accepted your proposal. But before contributing, talking to them or talking to anybody in the community or in with the developers also seems very hard. So what you can do is, basically what I suggest is, whenever you are making any PR or any contribution into the organization, make sure to talk to other contributors as well, so you can see all the contributors which are contributing into the particular organization. If there are, like, suppose 5 to 6 people are contributing, you can tell others to review your code so that they can also engage in your code, and then relatively the talk will automatically happen, and then you can go forward with that.
I see. And what are the like very basic common challenges that arise when you are doing a contribution to an open source project, and how can you overcome them?
So basically the most like hard thing to do is setting the project, as I said, because whenever you do setup, you don't know what all things we require in our system. If your system is compatible enough or not, that also we don't know. So you have to do a lot of struggle finding docs, and really setting up different things. And also the most important thing people don't consider is they don't learn. So in open source you have to learn every time. Basically when I started contributing, I didn't know what Docker is basically containerized management system, so I didn't know those all things. So on the day one only I started learning, when I saw that they are using Docker and I don't know Docker, so I started learning Docker, and started checking their code, that how they have written, what does that mean. And that makes like you understand the code better, because now you also know the tools they are using. So getting familiar with code base is really challenging, but that is a painful part that you have to go and do with yourself only.
Hi. And as you mentioned, like there are certain tools such as Docker or Kubernetes. So can you talk a
Yeah.
little bit more about these tools and resources that can help you uh, learning?
Yeah. So basically, in open source, you have to learn a lot of things, and whenever you pick or any organization, several organization use several different tools, because all the organizations are open source. They also have to manage their expenses, and also have to use the tools which are efficient. So when learning about any tool, what I suggest is directly check what the tool does is into their documentation, and check the code base as well. So if you are learning about Kubernetes, as you know, Kubernetes is an open source software. So now you can also check the code of Kubernetes as well, so and contribute in that if you are getting familiar with that also. So checking the code and seeing what all Kubernetes use, and things Kubernetes is implementing and their architecture, then only you can understand that how Kubernetes works, and how these things are working, because all of these things are also open source. So you can directly check the architecture and how the code is working. So yeah, that is the like that I will suggest every student to do. Once go to any tool which you are using and check how they are implementing the code base, because really these tools are used right now. Like in these days, Kubernetes is used very widely, and it's open source. So you can learn a lot from open source code just by looking into them, and not even contributing, just by reading the code bases.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just reading the codes
Yeah.
with
Yeah, because
just by reading
the
the codes, you will also learn.
developers are super great there, and they will uh, basically know much more than you. So you can learn
Yes.
from them directly and for free.
Yes. And when you're contributing to the community, how can you like effectively contribute? Because it's not like something solving a question on certain
Yeah.
portals so you can like repeatedly do it. Once you
Yeah.
commit, like it's up there.
Yeah. So
So
basically, what I suggest is, whenever you contribute in an organization, you might or not might find issues. You might find
yes.
some issues, and you might not find. So try to find the issue by yourself if you can't find in the issues list. If I can't find any issues in this organization, and this organization is listed, what can I do? I can't contribute because there is no issues. So what I suggest is, uh, create a development environment, and try to use the software and check what issue is there. Become a tester and check what issues are there, then open an issue and then fix. So this way, even if there is no issues and there are really less chances to contribute, then also you can start contributing.
Now let's go back and let's talk a little bit more about the Google Summer of Code.
Yeah.
As someone who is a beginner coder, can they enter in the GSOC, Google Summer
Yeah,
of Code?
sure. If any student who is learning and has started their learning journey, then he can definitely start with any open source contributions, be it Google Summer of Code or any other program. It's really easy to get into open source, but it's hard to be consistent. You can do first contribution, but you might not do the second one or third one. Yeah. So
And
yeah.
is there is there any specific criteria to get participated in it?
So previously, as I remember, Google Summer of Code used to have a criteria of only students, but now they have opened the bars to all, and anyone who has who wants to contribute and get participated in Google Summer of Code can take participation.
Mm. And what does like truly differentiate a successful uh, Google Summer of Code applicant from others?
So yeah. So first of all, let me give you an example of my journey so that you can get a clear perspective. So when I started contributing in OpenEMR, which is my organization, which I got selected into. when I started contributing there were actively. So, and the organizations get limit of like 2 or 3 people get selected. So they can only select 2 or 3 people from all of these 30 or all of the contributors participated. So how they will rank you is very important. So first of all, what makes a difference is impression. It's very important to make an impression to your maintainer who is maintaining the code and the organization. So if you make an impact and if you make them feel that you can do the project in the this 3 months period, then there is no chance that you are not getting selected. But if there are a lot of competition, I would definitely suggest that one should make the best proposal that he can, and use as much as detailed architecture and explanation to explain the things how they are going to do, and what all things they are contribute in their daily basis. So what I did in my Google Summer of Code is I made a proposal, and that proposal was detailed enough that each day or each week what all things I will do was written in that. So that makes it really helpful.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's nice. Like you should describe each and everything in detail,
Yeah.
you know,
So
to
yeah, the maintainer will get the confidence. The other people is willing to contribute, and he has the proper plan. Then they will get confidence, and uh, that will definitely get effective in your selection.
yes. And what about someone like someone who is not for the computer science background? Like there are many people who are from the other background, but they are switching to IT industry, and someone who wanna participate in GSOC, like someone, let's just say, from the mechanical student.
Yeah.
Who,
Surely, first of all, Google Summer of Code doesn't care about what college background from you are, what is your age, or what is your gender, or which country you are living in. These things doesn't matter in open source much. So first of all, you don't have to think about that. If you have the skill, if you really know enough, and as I said, if you make the impression in front of your contributors, then there is really nothing that stops you getting into Google Summer of Code.
uh, so there is like not much of the criteria. It's like uh,
Yeah,
how
it's open
effectively
for
you
all.
can present.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's about how you build the connection with them, and how you communicate and how you apply. These things really matter.
Yes. Can you talk a bit more about your experience? How was it in uh,
Surely.
GSOC?
So,
Yes.
how I got introduced to GSOC, first I will tell that, so that you get what was my motivation. So, first of all, I got introduced by GSOC from some YouTube video, and once I saw that video, I was really interested in contributing to open source and doing Google Summer of Code. And it's really popular, and as you know that only 1100 or 1200 student worldwide will get selected, then you like really feel some achievement is there. So I looked into that, and at that time I was not that much skilled that I contribute to open source, and I didn't knew GitHub anything. So I just saw the video and I moved on, and I was doing an internship at my company. So I was just kept on doing the internship, and 1 year later, I again got some videos around GSOC, and again I thought that now I'm little bit skilled, so I should do some contribution. So take in mind that you must know some skill and some demo projects to have to do contributions. Otherwise, if you don't know anything about software engineering, anything about any language, then you can't contribute because you don't know. So now as I was skilled, I first of all looked into Google Summer of Code website, and then searched into some organization. So how before organization list announce, how we can check the organizations which are gonna listed, we have to predict. Because the organization list will come in like January or February, but I decided in like December or something. So I looked into the past program. So basically, if you go to Google Summer of Code website, you can see the past programs. So there is a whole archive of all the years. So I first of all, let's look into 2022. So these are all the organizations which are listed in 2022. Okay, so now I can see that these all organizations have got into GSOC in 2022. It might come in 2023. That's really good chances. So on that chances, I took into part in an organization named as PHP it's a database management organization for PHP and MySQL. So then I started my contributions in PHP admin with very small UI changes, like some button has some really small like text issues, or with those issues I started. And my first contribution didn't end up merged. So there was a lot of issues in Git and GitHub. So I didn't couldn't made up those changes. So what happened is I retried and I talked with my maintainers, and they were really good. They will support you a lot if you have good maintainers, and they will support you a lot. Then you can learn a lot about open source. So they helped me a lot about GitHub, all the commands they used to share me, and that was fairly easy. But what ended up happening is the organization which I contributed to didn't appeared in the organization list. So I contributed to like 2 months and so, but the organization was not in the list. So I was totally like demotivated that my 2 months are gone into like waste, and I can't do anything, I can't contribute. So then I was a little bit demotivated with for some time, but then I again charged myself and thought that I should pick some other organization, and it was too late actually. I suggest people that if you want to go to Google Summer of Code and start participating, then you must start contributing in at least November, or like somewhere around that November, December. If you are contributing too late, then it will be like very competitive, first of all, because the when GSOC period comes, the people and students starts contributing more. So if your contributions start early, then it's very good. So uh, I then I tried to pick any some other organization. I looked into my peers, what other people which were contributing into PHP admin are doing right now. So I got into their profiles and I looked into what they are contributing, because they were also using the same stack. So as I know that they are also doing the same thing, they must be into some similar organization which I can also contribute. So I checked 2 3 profiles, and I period was like key to is quite good if you like contributor. As my contributions were like quite high in also, and in quality also. So and the contributions which I make in that contributions also, I made lot of interaction with the maintainers. So almost all the maintainers which were in the organization, I have communicated with them once or twice, so that they have my like name or image in mind that this is the person who is contributing, might be then I just started contributing, and then I prepared a proposal. As I said, it was very detailed and in-depth proposal. So as I said, if you do all the things perfect, then it is like very easy to crack. But uh, there must be one thing, that you are skilled enough. If you are not skilled enough, then people can see in your contributions only, and they might not select you. Yeah.
Hi. And as like these things highly depends on the proposal and how you explain them. Like, can you
Yeah.
little bit explain more about the proposal, like how to make the proposal? What are the key
Yeah.
links you should mention and how should mention it?
Yeah, I'll try to find my proposal and I'll try to share it right now. Just a second.
Yes.
So this is a draft proposal which I used for creating my proposal. So basically, I can give you this link and you can share it with students if they want. So this is a basic draft proposal. In this proposal, I have basically created all the schema type of thing that people can use. So as you can see, you must first of all introduce yourself. You can share, you should share the time zone which you are living in, so that they can see that in what time zone the other student is, and communicate accordingly. So after that, you must mention the email course and these things. And after filling this, you must have clear idea that why you are contributing to a particular organization. So if you will say like you are contributing to Zulip, and it's a chat-based organization, so you must be interested in something like that. If you are interested in that technology or that organization, mention all the points, and that will be enough. So after that, it's the project part. This is the main stuff, because these things doesn't matter much. What matters is your project which you are gonna doing in your coding period. So in this, you will give your name of project, and after that, it's entirely depends on what your project is, because you have to explain each and every detail of your project, what you are gonna do, how you are gonna do, and on what time you are gonna do everything. You have to show them. So after that, if you explain the project very well, then there is timeline. So as you can see, the GSOC timeline is there. You should follow this and make a whole to-do list, or like goals. You can say that I will achieve this in these days, in these week. That will be really helpful to imagine by a maintainer can imagine that this in this month your half project will be done, and after the first evaluation the second half will be done. So that really helps. And after that, you can mention the expectations from your mentor, and some commitments if you want to commit more into open source after your GSOC, and things like that. These are really optional, and at last you should give the references of the things which you are using in your uh, project explanation. So as I said, whenever you explain the project, you should mention each and every detail. So if you are mentioning any documentation or any project link or any package link, then you must mention the reference here. Okay, so this is a basic project proposal which I showed, and they might differ from each other, but the main thing is the explanation of project which you should take care.
Okay, so your
Yeah.
project should be like in detail, and
Yeah.
it should like also has the timeline at what
Yeah.
time you're gonna do what, so they will have the clear and better understanding of how you're gonna
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah, that really helps.
And also, as someone like who is taking doing the first time, what would you recommend from your experience? What would you recommend to who is going for the first time in GSOC? What things they
So,
can keep in mind?
first of all, as I said, one should take care in mind that when you contribute, you will communicate with lot of people, and you will find that some people might not help you, or some people like might not support that much. So you have to be really respectful, and treat others well in the open source community, as it's maintained by people for free, and you must not raise lot of PRs, or basically don't make a bad impression. If you are not making a good impression, at least don't make a bad impression in front of your mentors, because then you're, even if you had less competition and a high chance on, even if you are highly skilled, you might not get into the organization just because of your bad behavior or anything like that. So that is the thing which you should really keep in mind.
I At least if like if not good, then don't do the bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, what about like when you're making a contribution to an open source project? Uh, can you use someone else code and like just not like copy paste, but like can you use someone else code and modify like according to the needs? Is it okay, or is it like something which is not valid?
So it will really depend on the organization and the project which you are contributing in. but if you are contributing something, if you are copy pasting it and it's working and it doesn't harm any type of like copyright laws, then I don't think so anyone will stop you. But it depends on the project and the organization.
Hi. But it depends. But as long as you have the
Yeah, if you are
authority.
yeah, if you are authority and if you are copying in like if you are copying from Stack Overflow and it's a relatively good solution, then it's allowed. There is no problem.
Hi. It's like it has to be, and you have to have the permission, but it's
Yeah,
allowed.
yeah, it must not hurt any it must not violate any copyright laws at least.
Mm. And of course, one is like a very good question. Like it has a Google name attached to it, so someone who does cracks this coding.
Mhm.
So, is it there the highly chance of getting placed into Google?
Actually, this thing was like before 2018 or 17, I think this thing was really applicable because back then Google used to offer referrals to some people who are getting into Google Summer of Code, not all, even that time. But right now, Google doesn't offer any of such benefit, and it's just that you are going to contribute in the open source community, and you will get good connections in the open source community only. You might not have any interaction or anything other than the stipend from Google.
Mm. And how much does the co- like contributing to the open community helps in your career? Like how important? What
So
does it resemble?
yeah. Yeah. So as I said, you in the example of Kubernetes, that Kubernetes is relatively very large organization and it's used in like every big tech company. So when you are contributing or just doing anything in that particular organization or in any big open source organization, you will definitely learn from leading software engineers and seeing the code and contributing with them. So as like from the learnings of those code which you might not get even in MNCs, that you will really get in open source for free. So you can learn and contribute at the same time. So that's really helpful, and I think that things which I learned in open source, I don't think so I might have got opportunity in any other company, because companies doesn't allow you to learn inside them. When you join the company, you have to work for them. So most companies will expect from candidate that he must have all the knowledge, and in open source you can learn on the go, and that's the best part, that if you don't know anything, you can just start contributing just by learning few things.
Mm. And the one last thing I would like to ask you, like
Yeah.
how was your journey? Like how did you enjoy? How much did you enjoyed it? The 3 months duration, and while you were contributing to the Open EMR, how was
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. First of all, it was really, really awesome because it was my first time contributing to any big software. And again, the name Google also meant a lot to me. And other than that, I will say that the communication which we have to do with like people outside the country, which also makes it very beautiful, that you will communicate with people from America or like from Europe or any other state. That also feels very good, and you might also get opportunity to work with leading software engineers. So that is also very good. So in my organization, I really enjoyed the time because when I started my contributions, I had done half of my project even before starting the coding period. So it was like just complete the half remaining project in the meantime, which was like 3 months for me. So I really enjoyed a lot, and I had to work comparatively very less because I had already worked before the coding period. So yeah, it was really, really a beautiful journey, I will say.
Uh, Also, one last question. I know, like I said, the last question, but like one last
No, no
question, I would
problem.
say.
Sure.
Um, at someone like, even though it is during the summer breaks, but at someone who is already working on something else, like someone is
Mhm.
working, can they also do this as a part-time
Yeah,
for the
sure,
3 month
sure.
duration?
Yeah, Google Summer of Code, as I said, had this uh,
Flexibility.
criteria of only allowing the students before 2021, but after 2021 they opened it to all. So now if you are a working professional, that doesn't matter. If you want to do part time, you can do. If you don't have any job, if you don't have any experience, really nothing matters right now. It's just that you contribute, you give proposal, you make an impression, and you get in.
Okay. Yeah. With that, like that was my last question, and I
Yeah,
thank you so much. Thank you very much, Yash, for joining to our podcast and
thank you so
for
much for
sharing your
having.
insight and expertise and your invaluable. We appreciate that your time and the contribution, and I know that our listener will benefit greatly from the knowledge that you have shared. And it was an honor to have you as a guest.
Thank you
And we
so
will
much,
look
Rahul.
forward
Thank you.
to collaborate with
Sure,
you and work with you again in future.
sure, sure.
Okay, sure. Thank you very much, Yash. Is
Thank you.
there anything that you would like to share with our viewers, or you would like to mention your social media?
So yeah, if anybody have any doubt regarding anything in open source or regarding to Google Summer of Code, they can definitely reach me out on LinkedIn or GitHub or any other platform.
Okay, thank you very much, Yash. Thank you very much for your valuable words and sharing your knowledge again.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.